All right. So for my senior capstone project, I took a lot of time to reflect on what I want my vlog to be, because it's sort of a summarization of a period of time in my life. And so I'm a very musical guy, so I thought music would be the best outlet, I guess, for it. And so I decided to compile 4 of my vinyl records to describe the 4 years I've been in high school. So I guess I'll just go. So freshman year, I described as Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy. It's a lot of self-discovery, and it has a lot of sort of introspection in it. A lot of the album is, what am I doing? Where am I going? I was sort of coming back from being in a middle school in Providence, Rhode Island, and I come back to home, and sort of was a bit of an outsider, a bit of an outcast, since I was just away for 2 years, but like it still felt long. And like it was just like the wealth of experience was different. Like I missed out on what was going on in Franklin, and so a lot of people who I was very close with, they just didn't really talk to me. And so this album's a lot of like, what am I doing with my life? Who am I? It's very, very sad at some points, but also very, very positive. So yeah, I thought that would be a good one for freshman year. Yeah, it's sort of a transition point in Tyler the Creator's discography as well, because a lot of his previous albums were very grimy and edgy and offensive, which he's not like a very offensive guy, but like he was sort of like, this is a maturing point for him. So just like it was a maturing point for me, he was more talking like, hey, what do I genuinely feel, instead of disguising it with rampant language and like loud instrumental. It's more like soothing, jazzy, melodic. Yeah. So sophomore year. So I decided to pick Thundercats. It is what it is. I barely listened to this album, but it came out my freshman year, like right as COVID hit, and it sort of had a lot of potential, just like my sophomore year had, but COVID sort of squandered it. Like, for instance, this album, like he was going to go on tour for it. That tour got very, very well delayed. And for instance, like Declan Fields, he had a hoodie for it. He was so excited since it was like his birthday. He got tickets to see Thundercat on tour, and that didn't happen since COVID. So it's just like the ideas of what could have been. Since sophomore year, it's sort of all skewed because of, a lot of it was online, and then it was different cohorts, and the social aspect of school was very much gone. Like, I think I had got like one new friend that year, and it was just a rough time. I remember there was a time in which
was like struggling in class, and I literally said to mom, I was like, I feel like I'm not progressing in life at all. I feel like I'm like getting worse, because like COVID sort of put a
damper on my life. Like I feel like I have not things that would have not have affected me during freshman year affected me significantly during sophomore year, just because I was so alone. And the album doesn't really have that sort of message. I mean, it sort of does, like unrequited love, king of the hill, like existential, like. But like that's not like sort of. I don't think that's the message Thundercat was trying to give. But that's sort of what it manifested in my mind. And even the title, the title being called "It Is What It Is," it sort of was just like there's nothing I could have really changed about my sophomore year. So I just sort of had to accept the fact that it was horrible and sort of just roll with it, which was tough. Sorry about that. My brother's geeking out upstairs. Now, junior year, I decided to pick Daft Punk's Discovery album. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. I sort of picked it since it was sort of it's called Discovery, and it was sort of like stuff is getting back to normal a little bit, and I feel like I sort of rebounded from my state in freshman and sophomore year. And for instance, like I became a lot like I was just like, screw it, I'm willing to sort of take leaps socially. I was a lot less shy. Wow, yeah, just so loud. I'm sorry. Yeah, and the whole album is mostly instrumental. Hope he doesn't come down here because that would ruin the whole thing. Mostly instrumental. It was used in a lot of sampling for the early 2000s, and it sort of defined an era of music, sort of how it was a rediscovery for me. Sort of defined the rest of my high school, since like a lot of the memories I remember fondly are from junior year. Since sophomore year, it was sort of just in freshman year, I was sort of just in my own head. Sort of really got out of my own way junior year, I'd say. So this year, senior year, I decided to pick Tyler, the Creator's Call Me If You Get Lost, which came out last year. So this album, it's very similar in tone, I guess, to Flower Boy, but it's a little bit different. The album, it's a lot about like being like, doing your own sort of thing. Throughout the album, Tyler's moving from place to place, sort of avoiding his own issues, in which I'm sort of in a moment of transition, in which, poster, I'm sort of, moving on. I'm trying to find my own way. I try to go to college and all this stuff. But there's still stuff at home that like I'm thinking about, and I'm like, it's a very weird situation right now, because I'm trying to like be in the moment, but also have to look towards my future, and that's rough. But it's sort of also like exciting, a lot like this album. Tyler, it's a constant development. Where he's still like moving in, but even when he's like sometimes just like stagnant mentally, which I feel like is life. Like I'm not perfect at this point, and I don't think anyone's ever been perfect before, but you're still on the road, I guess, even when you're if tripping and falling, you're still like on the road, which yeah, something. So, yeah, there you go.